Welcome back to the Cyber Risk TV live stream from the Expo Florida InfoSec World 2024. We are still thrilled to be here because we get to celebrate the 30th anniversary with many wonderful people. I am your host, Mandy Logan, and today I am joined by Chad Engel, who is the head of Reputation Defender.
Thanks, Mandy. Excited to be here.
Oh, I'm very, very glad to hear it. So, Chad, I'm going to be very, very honest. I want you to just enlighten us on what is Reputation Defender.
Absolutely. Great question. So, Reputation Defender is part of Gen Digital. It's a publicly traded company. Gen Digital has some really well-known brands. So, Norton, LifeLock, Symantec, other brands globally. So, Reputation Defender is just one of the many brands we have. If you think about Gen at a broad scale, so we service over 500 million users every year. And we stop over 1 billion cyber hacks every month. So we're really large in scale. The Reputation Defender portion focuses more so on our executives, high net worth individuals, things of that nature.
Okay, interesting. So then, what is the positioning of this product in the world of a CISO? How would it help their corporation?
No, it's a great question. That's what we're obviously we're doing here at InfoSec is talking to our CISO partners. I think if you asked a CISO what they want most from their executive team, they would say they want to lock them up in a room with no doors and windows and keep everything safe. The interesting about it, if you ask the executive, it's the exact opposite. What do they want most? They want to be on Fox. They want to be on CNN. They want to be on the hottest podcast with Mandy. They want to be out there, and that creates vulnerabilities for businesses. And so really what we're trying to do is we're trying to help those CISOs understand where we can step in, still get those executives exposure, but then block everything that we don't want the public to see. So the personal information, things of that nature. As you know, we live in a highly divided world now. And unfortunately, there's people that show up at executives' homes and protest. And that's a very scary thing for executives that have little kids at home. They don't want that information to be public. And so we help block that. So we help CISOs find that balancing act.
Oh, interesting. So being able to really help the actual physical security of a C-suite individual and their family, that is worlds apart in certain ways from what we generally think of having to have controls to help with social engineering. Because we think, oh, we've got to be able to identify the deepfakes, do all of this right away. It has nothing to do with the physical side.
Yeah.
So can you tell more about like the difference between having the dichotomy of the physical assistance, but really what are you helping with in the cybersecurity side?
Yeah. Well, the answer is you need both, right? You can't have one or the other. So we do have a SaaS program called Total Radius that our executives are able to use that helps with all the digital stuff. But really on the physical threat side, what we find is 99% of our executives that have worked with us, we find their personal information on more than 36 data brokers when we first start working. Even worse than that, if you think about like the home IP address, we find of that more than 36% of them, it's out there on those data broker sites. And so really when we're stepping in, we're trying to figure out how do we limit those physical exposures by removing that data online, in addition to all the other cybersecurity things we do in the background.
And so is there a portion where Reputation Defender also helps with giving executive focused training when it comes to avoiding social engineering?
Yeah, we don't focus much in the training space. We definitely help CISOs giving tips and tricks. I'm actually speaking later today on that exact topic.
Excellent. Okay.
And one of the things that we'll talk about is how important executive education is when it comes to executive privacy, PII removal, and how it's never one and done. In the tech space, we understand that. Technology is moving so fast and always growing and evolving. So how do you train and train again and tell them and tell them and tell them over again? The other piece that we find with some of the more recent data breaches that we've experienced with our clients is it's not just the executive. Many times it's their family members. So it's the spouse, it's their kids that, they're able to get that information online and they're able to create very compelling fake digital personas and then really breach into companies using that information. We recently, privacy is important, discretion, we can't say who we serve, but we had an executive recently that they were able to create a compelling email on behalf of the CEO to their finance company. In total, it cost them roughly $40 million they had wired to fraudulent accounts. And as we dug into that and really figured out what happened, it was social engineering more so through their kids,
Okay.
is how they really built that profile out.
Which makes absolute sense. We know that the bad actors are always looking at every angle, not you or
Yeah.
your family, but looking at every
Yes.
angle to gain that tiny bit of edge that plays on the human factor. Because many times in cybersecurity, we are looking that, well, humans are our greatest asset, they are also the weakest link.
Yes.
And I'm curious now, you've been in this role for 3 months, I believe,
Yeah.
3.5 months or
Little,
so.
yeah.
So as you jumped into Reputation Defender and what was being done, what were one or two of the things that really excited you?
Yeah, I think the one thing is really helping protect people and their families.
Okay.
As much as we protect the company, all of our services at Reputation Defender are for the individual. But we really focus on the one, and what is their sphere of safety that we do focus on, their spouse, their kids, those sorts of things, and that excites me. The other is the bad actors, as you call them. We all know them by right. The bad actors, they are evolving and they're getting so sophisticated so quickly. It changes how we act. We have multiple innovations on the roadmap. We're one of the first companies to start looking at digital personas. So I think about PII removal. There are many competitors out there that remove PII. We're going a step further to say, okay, if we remove it, can we actually replace it with a digital persona? So if Mandy lived at 123 Sesame Street, it's one thing to remove it, but can we actually get published she lived at 123 Burke's Place?
Oh, interesting.
And really throwing people off. And so it's how do we stay ahead of those bad actors? I think it was a week or two ago, Kelly Gerard, which is an astronaut, she's a mom, she was hit by some hackers that they used AI, publicly data off like Zillow. They were able to figure out off the floor plan what the master bedroom window was, send her pictures saying we had pictures of her changing, asked for, I think it was $20,000 as of a ransom. Obviously, she was astute enough to understand it was a scam, and she set stuff off and contacted the authorities. But unfortunately, our many executives aren't security. They're not security minded like we are, and so it's how do we remind them? How do we show them what the bad actors are doing and stay ahead of it?
Interesting. So with the integration then, if you're going with Reputation Defender, what are are there any roadblocks to a seamless integration that you've found? Or is it because Reputation Defender is done as an individual basis that, well, you still have to work with each individual executive?
Yeah, great question, Mandy. So it really depends on what service you're looking for. We work on two primary fronts. One is around online reputation management, and that really is search engine optimization for the executive. So when someone Googles them, what's showing up? We get a lot of celebrities that party in the Caribbean. The day after the DUI, their agent calls us to figure out how do we help suppress that down and create better content. We do the same thing for executives. On the privacy front, we really are a one-time integration. It's really trying to figure out, okay, what personal information does that executive, could they be known for, or do they not want out there? We load that into our system and our software, and then we're done. It's more of a set it, forget it. We manage it, and then if things come up, we reach back out and say, hey, this just happened.
Okay.
Most notably, we just launched a new tool called Total Radius. So it's a SaaS program. We can actually set up multiple accounts within that. So our CISOs are loving it because they can set their entire executive team up in one platform and then just get triggered if stuff's happening that could be a risk to the company. But that takes roughly 5 minutes to set up, and then it's a forget it. We only reach out if there are issues.
Oh, wow. So if there are issues, do you have available resources?
Yeah, no, also a great question. So Reputation Defender, we believe in a white glove approach. We do all the work. Executives, as many of us in the tech space know, executives aren't taking the time to go out and do security or privacy things. We do it all for them. And so once it's loaded, if something happens, we are the ones that take it all on to get something removed or taken down. Unfortunately, recently, revenge porn has been a growing topic for us. Unfortunately, even in the executive space, whether it be them or their kids, like that is a growing thing. We have a team that will literally go out and find it all and request the removals and do all of that and then report back when it's done. So very white glove approach in how we service our executives.
I've got to say, putting myself in an executive place, I would go, this is gold. This is incredibly helpful
Yeah.
because even as an individual, without a huge attack vector, or attack surface because of being such a high prize goal,
Yeah.
it is daunting but also very rewarding when you realize that you've secured your online presence as far as what people are seeing. And I can only imagine that if you are concerned about kidnappings or about getting access to very secretive information, the things that really allow your corporation to continue and become the bread and butter of supporting so many people internationally, this has got to be one of those little, yes, once it's integrated, everything is there, you're seeing. And are there reports or metrics, other information that's provided to an individual?
Absolutely. So one of the things that stands out about our services on the privacy front is every month we're going to send a report card. How many data broker sites we found you on? What removals we did? Are there we have threat intelligence? So on social media, we live in a, like I said, highly divided world. We're always scanning what posts were made on behalf of that executive, what could be perceived through an AI algorithm, what could be perceived as negative. Should you probably consider taking that down?
Okay.
Bad actors that create fake accounts, and we are able to see those and remove them as well. So on all those fronts, we're always trying to figure out how we help the executive and do the work for them and just give them the update.
Beautiful. I feel like as a CISO looking at that, I would have kind of a sigh of relief.
Yes. Yes.
I would totally have a sigh of relief of excellent.
Well, and we see that in our retention, right? When people work with us, they stay with us. They see the proof, they see the ongoing work. It's not a one and done solution like some of our competitors. We really service the one. We want to make them happy and keep them safe.
Wow, Chad, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm thrilled that you get to work at the nexus of helping secure physical lives while also being in the tech side that we all love.
Yes.
So, and thank you for our viewers for tuning in to this live interview from InfoSec World 2024. To find all of the CyberRisk TV coverage of this year's event, please visit securityweekly.com/ISW.